Hi and welcome back to the channel. My name is Nick and yeah, we're going to be jumping down into a little bit of a discussion around DeFi today. But before we get into that, as you can see, we're back out doing a little bit of exercise and I want to kind of just talk about that for a moment. Just simply because many of you guys have been very supportive in the comments section on YouTube and in the Discord and all that kind of wonderful stuff, and it's great. But there are a few people that just still don't quite fully understand, you know, what it is that I'm doing, why I'm kind of taking a bit of a leisurely walk outside. I just want to kind of give a bit of a brief recap before we jump into the world of DeFi a little bit. So the idea here is simply that I need to get away from the desk. We can't spend, you know, the amount of time that we do behind the desks, you know, good kind of 12 to 18 hours a day, just looking at charts and just looking at technical analysis consistently for such a significant period of time. It kind of isn't very healthy, right? So trying to get out of the studio isn't about trying to keep up with the Joneses or anything like that. Essentially, it is more about trying to make sure that we have the time to get a little bit of exercise in. Now, this is not anything major by any stretch of the imagination. It's a very kind of small walk, not very far. It's on my doorstep, so I can just take the camera, take, you know, 30, 45 minutes away from the desk and talk a little bit about crypto from a fundamental standpoint, which brings me on to the other part of this, right? Of this argument of kind of trying to understand or explain why I'm trying to get away from the desk a little bit. Okay, so for the last, I mean, I don't know how long, it must have been probably pretty much the majority of 2022 and at least 6 months of 2023, where the channel has become very heavy on technical analysis and not so much on the fundamental analysis, which is critically important and more important as time progresses, as the bear market gets deeper and deeper. And let me just explain that in a little bit more detail as to kind of why, right? So from a fundamental standpoint, you keep an eye on the team, the roadmaps, you keep an eye on tokenomics and token unlocks and things like this, right? These are all very key fundamental things about projects and whether or not projects are changing their roadmaps, whether they are looking at maybe trying to be multi-chain, right? And interoperability, these kind of buzzwords that are thrown around. Maybe they are rebranding, maybe they are changing direction. Okay, these are key fundamental things that you need to be aware of in order to know whether or not a project is going to still be successful in your opinion going further forward. It's just starting to rain as well, which is it's going to make for a bit of a soggy video here. But so these are kind of really key important things that we need to be aware of, right? And we need to make sure that we keep a finger on the pulse of. Now, as it starts to rain, I'm going to be heading back in that direction, I think. So as we kind of get deeper and deeper into the bear market, it's important that we keep an eye on these fundamental issues, whether they are in fact an issue or whether or not there's some really good positive things that are happening, right? And from a fundamental standpoint in the bear market, if these things are changing and they become issues, then you have the ability to avoid carrying this dead wood into the next bullish market. So it's quite important that you keep an eye not only on the technical analysis, but also the fundamental analysis. So in 2022, and pretty much the majority of 2023 so far, the channel has become very much a technical analysis channel, which is great. It's fantastic. You're able to kind of be predictive over where you want to accumulate your altcoins and even BTC, right? But it doesn't help you understand whether or not those projects are still adhering to their roadmaps, and it doesn't help you understand whether or not they still have that same rate of success that maybe you thought they would in early 2022 from that fundamental standpoint. So by trying to hide from the rain, but by basically making sure you keep an idea or a finger on the pulse of the fundamentals as well as the technicals, you should be in a pretty strong position. So me taking some time to grab the camera, get out of the studio and get rained on out here in not so sunny England, it helps me and helps you guys keep the fundamental or the understanding of the fundamentals right at the forefront, right? And as I said, it's really important the deeper that you go in the bear market, as things become very, very cheap, you might be buying something that you don't want to. Okay, so there's a couple of reasons for grabbing the camera and getting out of the studio. Not getting rained on is one of them, of course. So that's kind of it, right? We basically get some exercise, get away from the desk, try to do it for the physical health. As you can see, I'm out of breath just walking up and down this hill. And trying to make sure that we are very aware of the fundamental side of what is going on. Okay, so a couple of good key reasons as to why I'm doing these things. It's definitely not to keep up with the Joneses, because I don't know who that would be. Anyway, so I'm going to try to grab a little bit of shelter here, and then we're going to talk DeFi. Okay, I'm going to hide under a tree for see how long this this little storm takes to kind of blow over. So DeFi, right? There's a lot going on in the world of DeFi, and I think there's a lot of things that people don't generally keep an eye on in the bear market. And there are three kind of protocols, I guess, or key protocols that have kind of caught my attention in this bear market from a technical analysis standpoint, and also from an analytical standpoint from on-chain data. Okay, these are Cardano, because we've spoken about this many times before. Okay, we see total value locked growing on Cardano quite nicely, right? And it is very interesting to see Cardano's total value locked grow in relation to other DeFi protocols out there, right? And it's hard to even say that Cardano is DeFi when it hasn't really got any of those dApps launching yet. But I think in the future, Cardano is definitely going to be up there in terms of DeFi, decentralized finance applications, and in that sector, I think it's going to be quite well known, right, and quite renowned for DeFi in the end. It might not be there yet, but I do think that's something that we have to kind of focus in on going further forward, right? And again, these are the fundamental side. Then we have 𝗕𝗂. Now, 𝗕𝗂 stands out from its tokenomics and the total value locked there and all those kind of wonderful things as well. So again, from a DeFi standpoint, I think that 𝗕𝗂 is in a really strong position, and the tokenomics support some pretty good growth overall, right? And then the last one, which also is very, very interesting to me, is Injective protocol, right? Also has some great tokenomics that could see staggering growth in terms of price action in the next bullish market. And the rain is getting quite heavy now, so I apologize if you guys are getting wet there. I've probably made that very, very bad. I'm going to see if I can wipe that off there. So essentially from like a DeFi standpoint, these are the three protocols that are really jumping out to me at the moment. These are three that I will be looking to add into the portfolio at some point. Cardano, I'm very happy with my position there. I'm probably not going to be accruing or accumulating any more ADA unless, of course, there's a good reason to do so, as in price drops down to such a significantly low level that I would be stupid not to, right? But I do hold a very good position in ADA, so I'm not looking to buy any more of that. But I am looking at purchasing Injective Protocol, and I'm looking at purchasing up of 𝗕𝗂, right? So, or 𝗕𝗂, I should say, not ADA. So 𝗕𝗂 and Injective are two very key things I'm looking at accumulating in this bear market. And I do think we aren't quite at the bottom yet. I do think we're going to be dropping down a little bit deeper, and we are going to be getting some pretty decent accumulative levels. So from a technical analysis standpoint, I think these are going to do incredibly well, right? Now we take a look at that from a fundamental standpoint, and I also see that there's great how do I articulate it? I mean, of course, you've got great tokenomics. We've got great kind of ideas of kind of what that could mean for DeFi in terms of the shock to the supply-demand elements, the price action of the native tokens, 𝗕𝗂 and Injective, or INJ. But we also see that the dApps and things, the roadmaps, the teams are all very strong as well. So like from a fundamental standpoint, these are three protocols that are really standing out, right? Cardano, because we've seen no Cardano inside and out, it's a layer one. It's got some great stuff being built on it. Cardano's foundation, we've interviewed a few people from there over the last kind of year and a half or so. We've got some great understanding as kind of what is going on at the Cardano layer. And I think we have missed out a little bit with 𝗕 in the previous bullish market, but I think we're going to get another opportunity to get into this. Now, when it came to the previous bull market, we saw it kind of, the DeFi element kind of get stumped out a little bit by meme season. And I don't think you're going to have the same issues this time around. I think memes are, or meme coins and meme tokens kind of had a great run in the previous bull market, but I think there's going to be a focus back on DeFi in the next bullish market as well. But there's one other thing that's kind of making me really kind of bullish on DeFi, and that is the privacy elements. I think that there's going to be a push for privacy-centric dApps and applications built on some of these protocols, and I think that that's going to really help harness DeFi even further to keep it regulatory compliant in lots of these jurisdictions. So we have things like Obscure on the Ethereum network, we have Midnight that's looking to launch on the Cardano network, and I think we have also Findora on the Ethereum network as well. I think there's going to be some great opportunities to get into some protocols at some pretty decent levels, and we can see that we have everything kind of lining up quite nicely to make compliant decentralized applications in many different jurisdictions around the world. So I think, considering the rain is coming down quite heavy now, I'm probably going to wrap this video up right there, and I'm going to make my way back to home and see if I get a break in the weather at all. But if you have found this useful, informative, smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe and join us down in Discord. We can continue the conversations down in the Discord. Link is in the description below. It's completely free, and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there. So why not go ahead and check it out? And guys, I'll catch you all in the next one.